Hey, Mark at Marin Bikes here again, going through our 2012 mountain lineup. Big changes for 2012 season with Quad 3.0. Still using our quad link design, just heavily revamped for 2012 to offer a system that is lighter weight than Quad 2.0. Also allows us to tweak the leverage ratios on the shock, give it a little more linear leverage ratio, which was a target that we had. So visually, big changes. Functions, we'll go through that, are essentially the same. So 3 iterations of quad link since its inception in 2003 with Quad 1.0, but all the principles are the same. With quad link, what we're looking at is a bike where we have a rising rate design. Again, we want a bike that is very supple, very active in the initial part of its travel. So, hits and point factors for climbing to maintain traction. Definitely want to have a bike that has some basically stiffening of the suspension platform under pedal load as well. So with the quad link design, repackaged in this new linkage system where we have now a seat tube mounted upper link and a bottom bracket area mounted lower link. Function of quad link is still the same. We have a IPC, or instantaneous pivot center, moving pivot location above and forward of the bottom bracket area. As we go through the travel, that position migrates down towards the bottom bracket area. Again, in essence, shortening our swing arm length, making the bike a little bit stiffer as you go through the last third of its travel. With the rear axle path also retains its same principle from Quad Link 2 and Quad Link 1, where you have a rearward movement of the rear axle for the first third of its travel before going into a neutral arc around the bottom bracket area. Again, we want a suspension system that is very effective at rolling up and over obstacles. So again, if you're climbing, you come across that log or rut that you're trying to get over, you don't want the bike to stall and spin out. You want the bike to effortlessly climb up and over that obstacle before continuing through its travel. So those principles remain the same. So one of the features with Quad 3.0, with the new design, it's allowed us to tweak leverage ratios on the bikes. Bikes will now have a little bit more linear leverage ratio, still a rising rate design, but we wanted to offer riders to be able to get a little more out of the last third of the travel. Riders kind of set up bikes in 2 camps. Either you have your more gravity-oriented riders that like the bikes to run really plush, really soft, or your more cross-country oriented riders that maybe run bikes a little bit stiffer, a little less sag. With the new system, especially for cross-country oriented riders who usually feel that maybe they can't get the last third of the travel because they're running the bikes maybe a little bit stiffer, the new system with a little bit softer leverage ratio allows kind of more access for the riders to get into the last third of travel and just make the bike kind of more usable. So it has that really good pedaling feel, especially if they're coming off of a hardtail or a shorter travel bike and they want to kind of have that in a trail bike version. New leverage ratios have really allowed us to dial in the suspension on the bike, so it just has an overall kind of more usable feel. Riders kind of get that last third of travel and bigger impacts. And for the riders that run bikes a little bit softer for gravity, you'll just have a little more consistent feel all the way through the travel, so it doesn't feel too soft at the beginning of its stroke. From start to finish, the bikes will have a little more consistent feel, so you'll have that kind of nice progression going through either if it's a big jump section where you have like flat landings, hard transitions, or if it's just more smooth rhythm sections where you're just more pumping the bike. So big difference there on how the bikes will ride for 12 versus 2011. Mount Vision model here, 140 travel bike, big change visually again from what we've done. In 2011, this is the XM7 bike, which we're actually just going to be bringing into the US market. Originally it was going to be a European model only, but found out through dealers that this was kind of a good spec that a lot of people seem to like. $28.99 on this bike here, Easton wheel set, Fox fork with tapered steerer tube. So really nice build out on this bike for trail riders that want a lot of performance but maybe don't want to spend $3,000 or $5,000. So nice build out on this product. Upper end aluminum model is the XM8 full XT group. Fox Fork formula brakes on this one, Sun Ringlay wheel set, so tubeless ready with that, as well as the XM7. So 2 models available there. We'll also be doing carbon versions, which will be coming out. We'll give you guys a sneak peek on those later on in the season. So Mount Vision 140 travel platform here with Quad 3.0. Rift Zone 2.9er, brand new bike for us for 2012, and one of the main reasons for going with the Quad 3.0. Again, because of the movement of our pivot system with Quad 2.0 and that down tube mounted linkage system or arrangement, we wanted a bike, that our suspension system that worked well in a 2.9er application. Again, because of that movement of the pivot location, when we're applying it into a 2.9er platform here, where you have a greater bottom bracket drop from your bottom bracket area to your axle height, we definitely had to make some revisions to make it work, and this repackaging of the system really allowed us to tune Quad Link to work as it does on a 26-inch bike in a 2.9er application. So really excited about that. The series will be a 100mm platform. Going to have aluminum product as well as carbon. Entry-level model here, the XC6, which is a mix of a SRAM X7 and X5 10-speed group. RockShox fork coming in at $19.99, so really killer price point on this bike here. And then going up the range, higher-end aluminum product will be the XC7 2.9er, SLS XT build. Again, black flag, expert wheel set on here. So again, stance rims on these bikes, so tubeless compatible out of the box, which is a really nice feature. Tapered steer tubes on the bikes as well. So really nice features on it. Both the 2.9er and 26-inch versions still run our low rotation, high load sealed bearing system that we've used in previous generation quad bikes. Again, a really nice feature that riders have always appreciated. 10-year warranty on the bearings, really trouble-free system. So we wanted to, again, make sure we had a lot of the characteristics from previous generations that riders really enjoyed. Bringing it into a lighter weight package, we could tweak the suspension just a little bit, hopefully allow riders to get a little more out of the suspension from previous generations. So really excited on that. So 2.9er and 26-inch with Quad 3.0, different price points in both alloy and carbon. And carbon versions of the 2.9ers coming as well. Probably right around spring that will get you guys on that stuff.